5% of people actually understand these laws intuitively. So the main law of human nature, if I could summarize it, is everything people do is a sign. So we all want to change. We all want to be better at ourselves. If you become an astute observer of the people around you, you will have this, the game will be much easier to manage, right? The most important skill that you can have, sometimes the best kind of communication isn't necessarily direct. So if I tell you exactly what I want in some report or anything, you might get a little bit rebellious. You might go, I thought I'd written it perfectly, you know. If I tell you exactly what to do, you're going to be just mimicking me or something. But if you signal to somebody else that what they wrote may not be quite right, it makes them think, right? Instead of I just criticize directly and they get all emotional and all upset, and you say something directly about what you didn't like, if you just say, is that the best you can do? It makes the other person go, no, maybe I can make it better, right? It's a form of communication that's very powerful. We're people who are too verbal. We tell people exactly what we think, exactly what we want. We give instructions to people. But if you can be clever and you can kind of indicate and you can kind of send them in a certain direction, it's a much more powerful form of communication. What happens with a lot of people like myself is you enter the work world naive. Nobody tells you anything about these are the rules. This is how people can be so tricky and political. They have these egos that if you say the wrong thing or you step on their foot in some way, you're going to pay a price. Your parents don't tell you these stories. College professors, for God's sake, don't tell you these stories. The people, your bosses never want to talk about this. Nobody wants to talk about it. So sweet little innocent Cody enters the work world, or Robert, and you're just being yourself. You're just thinking, I'm going to impress them. Aren't, just doing a good job. Isn't that what matters? No. Ego, politics, playing, making other people look good. That is 90% of the game, especially when you're starting out. Nobody talks about it. It's like a dirty little secret. Well, it's not a secret. It's really how the world works. That's what I wanted to reveal in there. It's okay to have ideals. I don't want to make you all cynical. But you have to be realistic. You have to understand that the people you work for have an ego. And you have to feed their ego and not violate it and not make them feel insecure. I think about 5% of people actually understand these laws intuitively. And I can't explain why. I don't think it's genetic. It's just there's something to it where they understand, for instance, always say less than necessary, law number 4. They understand that if they talk less, they're not going to say something stupid, and people are going to look at them as if, they have an aura of mystery and they're powerful. They know that. They don't need to read Robert's book. They understand it's in their DNA. And they're people who generally, get very far in life, okay? And they can often be a little bit more amoral and unethical, than the rest of us. But so the majority, the 95% of us, we don't know these things, right? Because some of them seem counterintuitive. One law that people have actually criticized me a lot for, I think it's number 10, is infection. Avoid the unlucky and the unfortunate. And they assume that I'm saying just avoid people who've had bad luck or who are victims. And that's not at all what I wrote, and you have to read the chapter to understand. But the idea is sometimes people enter your life and they're all dramatic, and they're very charismatic, and they have all these stories to tell. And usually the stories are about how somebody did something terrible to them. They're the victim, right? There's all this drama surrounding their lives. And it seems kind of interesting, and you become their friend, right? And slowly, you get embroiled in all of their drama. They have arguments with you, they turn against you, then they reconcile. And you find yourself getting infected with their ugly energy, and down and down and down you go. It's counterintuitive to think that somebody who's super dramatic is actually masking, they're creating the drama that is surrounding them. We don't think that way, and I'm trying to show that you have to be a little bit wary about people. You can't just take them at face value. So these other people, they're not aware that they're behaving this way. I don't want you to crush your enemy totally. I want you to be aware that that happens in business all the time and not be naive with your company that you've, as an entrepreneur, this business that you created. At this very moment, there are vultures circling around who are going to buy your business out and crush you, because that's how business works, right? It's a merciless environment. I don't want you to be like that. I want you to be aware of it. I want you to be aware that there are people like that out there. That is sort of the point of the book. The most important skill that you can have in the work world, in the business world, and in life is knowing how to observe people and not be so wrapped up in yourself and be outer directed. So when you're in a situation like you've entered a job for the first time, your tendency is to be all insecure and think, did I say the wrong thing? Am I dressing correctly? Am I fitting in? And you're not observing, you're thinking about yourself, right? And the whole game is to be observing. It's like you're observing the world, the different games that are going on, what people are doing, what they're like, what their tastes are like, what the boss is like. There are all these levels of power going on. You want to get outside of yourself and simply observe, right? And not be thinking about yourself as much. And if you become a really good observer of people, if you become an astute observer of the people around you, you will have the game will be much easier to manage, right? You will know this is a person who is insecure. I cannot offend them. I cannot say the wrong thing to them. This is a person who's strong and secure. I want to be with them. I want them to mentor me. They can, you want to be able to take criticism from other people. In other words, be less insecure and be more kind of outer motivated and paying attention to the people around you. Well, the thing also that you want to understand is everything is a sign. So when you're observing, another thing is enjoy this aspect of it, because it's actually a lot of fun. It's like watching a movie and observing people and understanding them. But everything people do is a sign. So if they're showing up late at meetings or they're not returning your phone calls, it's not some innocent event. It means something. It's coming from some place within them. They're telling you something about themselves indirectly. If their desk is a mess, right, they can't organize their desk, it's a sign of something else going on inside them, right? If they're not returning your phone calls, on and on and on. Every little thing that people do. Sometimes when I read an email, I can sense that there's a little bit of anger as an undertone. You can sense people's tone, not just in what they say, but in how they write something, right? There's not this usual kind of polite tone. There's a little bit of a sharpness. There's a word or two that indicates that they're upset, they're angry. Every little thing that people do is a sign. You're not paranoid, because it's actually a lot of fun, and you're decoding what's going on, because people wear masks. They smile and they say, I love your ideas, Cody, you're brilliant, you're wonderful, but inside they're thinking something else. And you have to be able to pick up all of these signs. People can't begin to change themselves until they know who they are, until they understand themselves, right? So we all want to change, we all want to be better at ourselves. But until we know who we are, until we realize our flaws and our weaknesses. So the main law of human nature, if I could summarize it, is we don't like to look at ourselves. It's always the other person. They're the ones with the problem. They're the ones who are aggressive or passive aggressive. They're the ones who feel envy. They're the ones who are rational. But me, no, I'm a paragon of virtue. I'm always moral. I'm always good. I'm always smart, etc. So it's the point isn't to beat yourself up and go, damn it, I'm an awful human being. We're all humans, come from the same source. We all have the same ancestors. We all have the same flaws in our brain. It's not like you're exceptional. It's not like you're the one person that doesn't have a narcissism, that doesn't have self-absorption. So realizing that you're connected to all these people, that we all have these flaws and weaknesses, is actually not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And then by examining yourself deeply, you can begin to change some of these things. It's just like I don't go like, oh, damn it, I'm a narcissist. The point isn't, I'm just depressed. There's nothing I can do. Once I'm aware of it, I can begin to change it. But if I'm always repressing it, if I'm always thinking, no, I'm good, I don't have those problems, then if you can't see them, how can you change them? How can you deal with them? How can you become a better person? How can you change those qualities that you don't want? One of the most important things in the laws of human nature is that you have patterns, that you are compulsive. It comes from your character, these patterns that you see in your intimate relationships. You always fall for the wrong person, or you sometimes fall for the wrong person. You see it in your work world. I make these mistakes, I get fired for this reason, et cetera, et cetera. And they're good patterns, but we tend to repeat over and over and over again these sort of compulsive behavior. Being aware of these patterns and being aware of these things, you can now you have the power to change them. So I think actually it's worse when you're not aware of who you are. When you walk around in this world with all of these false ideas about who you are, you don't even know who you are. You're wearing this mask. You're not authentic. You're behaving in the world as if you're somebody else. And you're not aware of that, but it's causing you pain. It's making you suffer because you're not aware of the real person that you are. You're not authentic. And coming to terms with some of these dark qualities is actually a very enlightening experience. It actually can be euphoric. You go, I am an animal. I'm not this saint. I'm not this paragon that I thought I was. I'm an animal with flaws. I can embrace that. We're all like that. And it's a good thing. And feeling like you have this and you're coming to terms with it. I have a chapter on the dark side of human nature. Everybody has a shadow side. I have it, you have it, right? And seeing that shadow side, which is something you've been repressing since childhood, and dealing with it and confronting with it, is actually one of the most wonderful experiences you can have in life, because repressing all of these things is what is making you miserable in life. But coming to terms with who you are and being aware of it is actually liberating, you know? So when you're a child, when you're 3 or 4 years old, you're like this complete person. I compare it to like this round ball. You have good qualities, you have loving qualities, you love your parents perhaps, you love your siblings perhaps, but you also have these other darker qualities, these kind of aggressive impulses. Sometimes you hit people, sometimes you say nasty things, right? But you're a complete person. It's natural, it's who you are, it's how you were born. It's like a round ball and it's complete. And then slowly, year by year, month by month, you have to cut off that dark side, that back side of yours. In school, you're told, don't ever show that part of you. Your parents are, come on, you got to be nice. You got to get along. We want to be proud of you. All of those aggressive impulses that you have, all of those feelings where you felt envy about somebody, whatever, you wished you had what your brother or sister had, so they all go underground, right? You force them down. You don't want to deal with them, but they're still there because you're a human being. Those emotions don't leave you. They just get pushed down and they go into the back side of your head. That round ball now becomes cut off. It's like the moon with a dark side and a front side. And when you're out in the public and you're in work or in social situation, you're only showing people that bright, happy side, the good side. And you're doing the damnedest to conceal all of that dark energy inside of you. And then suddenly, because you're not aware of it, it comes out in explosions. Very typical thing is you suddenly get angry and you burst out with an angry email, or you yell at somebody, you say something kind of nasty. And then you look back and you go, where did that come from? That's not really me. I'm not really like that. I feel ashamed about that. But what you must realize is that's part of your shadow that's speaking. It's coming out. You're just not aware of it. You're trying to control it too much. And I say, the best thing in life to do is not to take out this dark side and just throw it around the world and be nasty and aggressive. That won't work. But you have to find ways to take that energy, because that dark side contains a lot of energy, a lot of power, and use it and channel it into ways that are productive.